We're going to talk about how and why my sales line system increases conversions. How do you increase your conversions that ends up producing millions of dollars in revenue and ultimately allows your business to scale? A lot of people don't really understand, how do I scale my business? So we're going to discover the system that I have. This is something that's really never been taught. I've always gone into sales companies and consulted for around $100,000, but I'm going to tell you my sales process here 100% for free. When I first started, I didn't have a lot of money, but I had a huge desire to make it and get money out of the way and move on and become a multimillionaire. While I'm talking to you right now, people are checking in with me and saying, dial session's done. Setters are checking in. Look at this. If I can help you become a millionaire because of my techniques and things I've learned over the last 24 or 5 years, if I can get in your head and help you get literate, financially literate by the practices that I've been able to learn and master, then so be it. But you're gonna have to someday get strong about your process called building a system for you and your company. And it starts with you. You gotta be the person that starts the system by yourself, and then all of a sudden you'll have a setter, and then before you know it, you'll have 2 of you, and then 3 of you, and then everyone's doing the same thing. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast with Anthony Powell. I'm excited that you're here. We've got a big day in front of us. We're going to talk about how and why my sales line system increases conversions. How do you increase your conversions that ends up producing millions of dollars in revenue and ultimately allows your business to scale? And that's one of the things you've got to learn in business is not only is it a big deal to get business, but it's a bigger deal to scale the business. Because if you don't know how to scale the business, you're always going to be stuck at 10,000 a month or 100,000 a month or $1 million a month or whatever your number is. A lot of people don't really understand, how do I scale my business? So we're going to discover the system that I have. This is something that's really never been taught. I've always gone into sales companies and consulted for around $100,000, but I'm going to tell you my sales process here 100% for free. So if I was you, I'd be taking notes. I would not be messing around. I'd turn the TVs off around you because I'm going to give you my $1 billion process. Okay, we didn't just do $1 million. In my career, we've done over $2 billion in sales, and that's collectively people that have come in and licensed my system, trained their organizations, my organizations. Collectively, we've done over $2+ billion in sales with the philosophy I'm going to be teaching you here today. Now, I'm going to discuss the history of the sales process, how I learned it, what did I do before, and then we're going to get into the nuts and bolts. Now, when I got started, I was only 19, 20 years old in the business. And when my mentor had made, over $100 million in business, but he did it the old-fashioned way. So that's what he taught me how to do. Do things that didn't require a lot of money. It required a ton of sweat equity. But I was up in Seattle, Washington at the time. Today I live in Miami, Florida, as you can see behind me, the beautiful view. But back when I started in Seattle, if you don't know about Seattle, it rains every day. So I had to do things in the rain that most people would say, no way. But see, the pain of being broke was so massive that the work that I had to do was nothing, guys. So you got to ask yourself, are you the person that's going to always put stipulations in front of you? I'm only going to do this. Well, you're going to stay broke the rest of your life. See, here's what I did. When I first started, I didn't have a lot of money, but I had a huge desire to make it and get money out of the way and move on and become a multimillionaire. So when you don't have money and credit cards and people to lend you cash or a family that has cash to give to you, you got to do things you normally would never do. And that is, I did in the beginning 2,000 car flyers a day. Now I progressed, I'm gonna get there, so hang in there if you're not the guy or gal that wants to hear this side. But when you hear where I ended up, you're gonna be mind blowing, okay? But when I first started, I had to do 2,000 car flyers a day. And they looked like business cards. They had a pitch on them on one side and it looked blank on the other. We would slide them into the driver's side door. And the reason why we did that is when someone came up, it looked like someone left a message for them. Never put things on people's windshields. That really irritates people, pisses them all off. But if you put something sideways in that door jamb right there, and they walk up to the car and they go, oh, what's this? They thought one of their friends left them a message, and they pull it over and there's your pitch. I did 2,000 car flyers a day, 7 days a week for 5 years, like 4.5 years, okay? And do you know what that's like, being chewed out by people when you're weaving in and out of cars, when you've got security chasing you all over the parking lots? I just didn't care. I'm going to the top. I'm gonna die on the side of the road. I'm gonna get this money deal out of the way. The second thing I did was, apartment complexes, they have mailbox areas. I would have pull tabs. I'd always pull 1 or 2 off so people didn't look like they're the first one. And I'd put 100 pull tabs out every single night of my pitch of my company that went to my sales funnel. The third thing I did was I hung signs when you came off of freeways and people came to a stop. I would put 1, 2, 3 signs out. So when people are sitting there waiting for the traffic light to turn green, they have my pitch and they're writing it down, taking pictures with their phone for later. And by doing that, I got to 10,000 a month my first year, 20,000 a month my second year. And what we were doing was we were bringing people down to a hotel to pitch them on the opportunity. And then we would do phone calls all day long to sell the product, okay? And we had a process, we had a script, and we had a follow-up process on the product and all that good stuff, right? But the bottom line is it's extremely manual. It took a ton of horsepower, a ton of not sleeping, but the bottom line was I was not gonna stop until I got myself to where I needed to go. But along that journey, I met another person named Chris, and she had mastered something called the sales funnel. Because before, what I was doing was I was bringing people physically down to a hotel, and I was pitching them from a stage and hoping they would sign up on my opportunity or buy my product. And then I'd bring them back on a Saturday and train them all day long. And it was just a complete pain in the ass, and it just was extremely it was a huge consumption of my energy, and I did it over and over and over again. Well, this is right in that time when LMS was starting. Everybody had 3-ring binders, and we'd say, hey, turn to 1A, and then we would train out of 1A with everybody in the audience would have 1A, and then we'd go to 2A. We thought we were geniuses, right? We had a systematic approach. But see, there it is. We had a system. We had a 3-ring binder we trained from. Everybody had the same one. Everybody did the exact same thing, and it worked, okay? We did it over and over and over and over, and everyone started doing the same advertising. Everyone started doing the same pull tabs. Everybody started doing the same. But what happened is that not everybody wanted to do, car flyers very hard. So what did I do? When I met Chris, she said, hey, you're working too hard and you're not 10Xing your business. I said, what are you talking about? She goes, you've got to get that. We got to do, instead of doing hotel meetings and things like that and training people in person, you got to get your life back. And the only way you can do that is by having a sales funnel to prospect. And then you got to have a training facility called videos in order for you to train your people. So I didn't realize that, for some odd reason, it sounds really easy today, right? But back then, this is like the early 2000, we were in that manual mode. We didn't really think about the digital age. So what we did was we came out with exactly what you see today, where people are going through step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4 in lessons, right? We had lesson 1, 2, 3, 4. So then what happens is everyone started doing and watching the same thing. Everybody was in the comfort of their home. The sales funnel started to prospect people faster. Instead of getting 3 people a day we'd talk to or 10 people to a hotel, we started getting thousands of people per week through our sales funnel. And what happened is our business started to go completely out of control. Well, in that process, I learned something in sales that all of you guys that have ever had your own course or your own sales floor, or you've done sales before, a lot of you guys still do, or most of you do old school marketing. You do old school marketing, trying to pump and dump into people into a sales funnel. You try to get 1 or 2 closers that just pitch people's brains out, and then you're hijacked to that person running your old business. And I know some of you are nodding your head going, yeah, well, guess what? Some of the biggest names out here, I can name 5 of them that are huge, that you guys watch them every day, and they're big boys and girls, and they do old school sales tactics, where they just get big phone rooms and everyone's standing around, pitch, come on, you can do it. You know you want this, and blah, blah, blah. No one has a specific script. And then you get that one or two people that are just dynamic on the phone, but they're just browbeating people to get the sale. And then, it's just so ridiculous. So what happened was I learned this process called the digital sales line system. You might want to write this down because every company I've gone into, immediately I've increased their revenue by 25%, month one. And within 6 months, they're up 50%. By the end of the first year, they're 100% double their revenue. Did you hear what I said to you? So if you're at $1 million a month, you're at $2 million. If you're at 50 million, you're going to 100 mil by what I'm going to teach you right now. And I learned this. Are you ready for this? I learned this back in, 1998. And then my mentor retired because they got stinking filthy rich. And then I perfected the digital sales line system and went on to do 2 billion in sales. So you guys ready? I'm gonna tell it to you, but you gotta be willing to take notes and you gotta go execute it. And then here's the next thing. Once you learn this, it's not about understanding the theory of this. It's about doing it yourself and mastering this. And then what happens is your business will take off. And if you need my team, you want to consult my team to come in there and get it installed. You want to license my back office, my CRM, because nobody has a CRM like I have. Let me repeat that. Nobody, no company and no body has the CRM that I have. It's called Drizio.com. And I'm not sitting here to sell it to you because I really don't like putting people on my proprietary system because I don't have time to train people, but I do train people. So if you're gonna come and use my proprietary system, be ready to go to work and be ready to increase your business by double and triple and quadruple because that's what my system does. Now, let's get into the sales line process. It's called the digital sales line process. Now, there's a few things you gotta understand. Number one is the sales funnels. What kind of sales funnels do we have out there? Okay, there's about 3 or 4 different types of funnels that we use. Number one is called a booking funnel. Somebody sees your ad or somebody sees an organic post. They come to a sales funnel that basically has an opt-in page. They fill out their name, their email, and their mobile. I do mobile. I know a lot of you old school marketers are like, oh no, we don't ask for anything but just their email because the more fields you have, the less traffic you get for the list, the email list. You got to build an email list. I do an A/B test. I have the one that just has the email address, but I also have the name, the email, and the mobile. And in parentheses on the mobile, it says for text only. And we do that because we want to get an SMS list built. So yes, the email list is great, but if I can get an SMS list built, it's gonna get way more conversions. And if someone's willing to give me their entire profile, generally speaking, I've got a more qualified person. Now, when they go from the opt-in page, they go right into a VSL. The VSL is timed 20 minutes, write it down, 20 minutes. And then about 16 minutes in, the book the appointment button comes up. Now, why is it 16 minutes and not 2 minutes? A lot of you guys go, oh gosh, I want the booking button to come up within 5 minutes. Or I say, yeah, you do because you want it, you're desperate for business. See, if you have the booking funnel thing come up later in the process, you're gonna have someone watch the video and yes, you may have 1 or 2 less bookings, but the person that does book is gonna show up more qualified. See, you gotta understand today's world. Do you want a more qualified person or do you just want a bunch of people showing up? Because if you wanna burn out your closing group, get more people showing up that aren't qualified. I don't want my guys to talk to non-qualified people. I want people spoken to that are qualified, okay? That's number one. Number two, when they get done with the VSL and they click the booking button to book the appointment, they're going to the next page and they're actually booking the appointment with my team. Now, you want to have your And this is one thing that we've done. We've mastered this. And if you look at the big booking calendar apps out there, they don't do this well. How do I know this? Because no one's doing 3,000 to 4,000 appointments a month but our team. Did you hear what I said? We're doing 3,000 to 4,000 appointments a month right now, and it's climbing. Soon we'll be doing 10,000 appointments a month. And so these booking engines out there that are lined in with that are API'd in with your calendars, they're not working. Because what we do is we rotate in what's called a round robin. It just goes boom, 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 boom. And then whoever the best closer is gets most of the leads. It's all based on a number system. Okay, but the bottom line is, like, there's one calendar app that starts with a C that most people use all the time. I won't say their name because out of respect. The bottom line is we used it forever because everyone else is using it, but it breaks all the time. It double books people in your schedule. It screws up your sales staff. So guess what we did? We just built our own, and we built it. That's why I have my own CRM, my own LMS and everything, because everything else out there was garbage. So I was like, you know what? If it's got to be done, it's up to me. So we just continue. We built the best CRM. We built the best LMS. We've built the best booking system on the planet because we're salespeople, guys. We know what happens when we're on the phone, what can't happen when we're on the phone. But these big companies out there, these billion-dollar companies, they go, hey, let's build a big app. They'll just use it. It doesn't work that way, especially when you have paid advertising or you have organic advertising where you have editors and videographers and things, and you're paying money for all this. If your system screws up, you're losing money. Bottom line, and what a lot of you guys go, oh, we'll just use Zapier and zap it on in there, and then Zapier fails because you don't know what to do and where to go. We've got over that. So back to the funnel. We book the appointment, and then that goes directly into the schedule, and then guess what happens? Thank you page comes up and gives them directions on what they need to be doing prior to their appointment. So the closer gets that appointment booked right in their schedule, and they get a notification you have a new booked appointment. Email, text message, new booked appointment. Now, what happens here, we put people through a two-step call system. The first one's called a qualification call. That's where we go through a series of questions, making sure the person is qualified to be on the phone with us. They're able to invest in the academy based on what they're coming for. Because see, here's the deal, guys. We don't want to put people into the academy that aren't qualified. Everyone's good people, but we don't want people that give us excuses. We don't want people that are lazy. We don't want people that are just going to just do nothing. It does us no good to take someone's money that's not willing to do the work. See, a lot of you guys right there, you guys are like disagreeing with me because you're not here to change people's lives. You're here just to make money for yourself. But when you switch your thinking to help people and change people's life, they're going to feel that on the phone. Your closers are going to talk from that perspective, and you're going to get a different group of people showing up that become your clients, your students, etc. Now, after we do a qualification call, we do what's called a sales call, and then we sell the actual course. Now, let's back up and go through our process, how we get people confirmed for the qualification call, and then how we get people confirmed for the sales call. What I'm going to teach you right now separates my business from your business because I will outproduce you 10 times to 1, probably 100 to 1. And it's from this technique I'm going to teach you right now, and you're going to argue in your head that it's not this. I guarantee you it's this. But there's a couple more little things, but right now this is the biggest part. Here we go. If we have an appointment booked 2 days out, that's 48 hours out. First of all, what happens is we set up with our setters what's called the 1 hour dial schedule. 1 hour dial schedule means at 9:30, 10:30, 11:30, 12:30, 1:30, 2:30, every half hour on the hour, they're going to call through their leads all the way up till 8:30, 9:30 at night. We get 10 to 12 dial sessions a day through our leads, 10 to 12 a day. And why do we do that? Because we want to get a yes or a no that the appointment is confirmed, yes or a no. So we get 10 or 12 dial sessions a day. Here's the first thing that people do when I teach this to their organizations. Geez, that's a lot of work. It's so, I wish I could say, man, that's fucking weak. If you're gonna 10x your business, you're gonna go from 100,000 a month to $1 million a month. Is that really a lot of work? No. But here's what it's doing. You're gonna get if you got 10 sales calls per closer booked every single day, and a closer's working 6 days a week, they got 60 sales calls a week. 60, you got 10 a day times 6 days, right? 60 a week. What happens is with all of you and the big boys and girls out there, your setters are only dialing 1 to 3 times a day and leaving a pathetic voicemail, hoping and praying the lead's gonna call back. They're not gonna call you back, they're a lead. They're doing what they're supposed to. It's like dating a new chick. You gotta chase it down, right? I mean, come on. You gotta do the work. Now, I've heard, because I have a few people I really highly respect in the industry today. I gotta be very careful what I say here, because I don't wanna sell any people out. I have a lot of people I love. And they were celebrating with their sales on YouTube. Their crew, they're like, hey guys, we got 25% appointment confirmations in the last week or 90 days or whatever. So that means for every 10 sales calls, 2.5 people were voice confirmed and showed up for the calls. 2.5 to 3 people. That's so pathetic. Guys, we get 10 people out of 10 showing up. Sometimes it's 9 out of 10. Did you hear what I said? If a closer has 10 sales calls booked, they're gonna get a minimum of 9, and almost 100% of the time, 10 out of 10 are showing up. Because we dial 10 to 12 times a day, getting a yes or a no voice confirmed. We have a script. We all read the same exact script. We do not change what we say. So all of our setters read the same script. Same script. So then what I do is I don't teach the what to. The what to is on the script. We're all reading the same script. That's the what. It's the how to read the script that I train. So how do you sound on the phone, right? The articulation, the tonality, the pausing, that sets up the certainty. All of this is what gets the lead to go from I'm gonna get a sales pitch to I like how I feel. And because I like how I feel, I'm gonna show up to the sales call. But here's the next thing that you guys I'm gonna blow your mind. We got the voice confirmation on the 48th hour. There's 2 more days. We got the 24-hour and the day of. We need a voice confirmation on the 24-hour, and we need a voice confirmation on the day of. 3 voice confirmations. A lot of you guys on the 48th hour get that voice confirmation and you guys think it's confirmed and the person doesn't show up and you don't know what's going on and you're just in a head spin, right? The closer now has a wasted hour. Your business is ineffective. It's not closing deals when no one shows up. If you don't get someone to show up, you're not making money. I'm a master at this. I'm a money-making machine here, guys. So you guys have got to get down what we're doing. The dial sessions once an hour. You got to get a voice confirmation every single day, because here's what happens. You're going to be at a 95 to 100% show up ratio. If you only get 2 out of the 3, you're going to go down to 50%. If you only get 1 out of the 3, it's 20% show up rate. There we are. Remember I told you guys that 25% that all these sales gurus, I just crack up when I hear these sales gurus out there trying to think they're a guru and they're just teaching old school shit. It doesn't work. What worked 10 years ago doesn't work today. I've been doing this for 20 years. I did 2 billion. No one's ever been able to catch up with me. And I've just recently got on YouTube. I don't need to have your clout. I don't need you to tell me I'm good at what I do. My numbers speak for themselves. I don't need to get on Facebook and touch phone. on YouTube and do all this stuff to say, AP, you're a wonderful sales guy. I don't need you to tell me that. I already know I am. And I also know that for me to get better, I need to check myself in and get better. I'm not gonna talk about my 2 billion I did. I gotta do another 2 billion, so I gotta constantly continue to grow. I don't need you to tell me that I'm wonderful. What I'm telling you here is that this stuff works and the stuff that you're hearing out there doesn't work. You guys are buying these guys' courses, or you're going to work in these people's sales rooms to try to become something, a six-figure earner. There's a reason why there's only 2 big hitters in the phone room out of 50 people, because they're teaching you old school shit. This is like a McDonald's assembly line. See? I haven't even gotten to the other stuff yet. McDonald's, guess what? You walk in, you press a button, and the cheeseburger pops out. You press red, Coca-Cola comes out. You press green, Sprite comes out. 2 beeps means the fries are done, shake the salt twice. 15-year-olds can do that over and over and over again. That is my sales organization. I've got the digital sales line system of McDonald's, just like McDonald's has. I can take a granny, I can take a doctor, I can take anybody, dump truck driver, and I can make them a 6-figure producer. And if they want to do the work, I can move them on in to become a 7-figure producer. And I've done it. I got over 200 people that have become 7-figure earners in my career, 1,000 6-figure earners, and just a bazillion part-time earners. So what is it? It's that dial session. 10 hours a day, they dial through the leads. And they're gonna get between 10, 12 hours a day, someone to pick up the phone and say, yes, we leave 1 voicemail a day. 1 voicemail, not 5, 10, 15, 20. We're not here to harass. What we are here to do is leave a voicemail. The first dial session, leave a voicemail, because what we do is people might be screening their calls and they go, oh yeah, I remember doing that now. So the next time you call, they're gonna go, hello, because they didn't know who you were at first. Now, my Latino business does WhatsApp, doesn't matter, it's the same thing. You still do 10 dial sessions a day on WhatsApp. You take the voicemail script, we just copy the voicemail script, and instead of saying I'm calling you, say I'm messaging you, and you'd hit paste in WhatsApp. And the person goes, oh, yeah. So when you call them, they're like, oh, they'll respond back, oh, yeah. I'm just telling you what I've done and why I've beat everyone's ass out there in the marketplace. We're just on the appointment confirmations right now. So our setters are getting these leads to show up for our closers. You get this done, everyone's gonna be making moolah. Next, number 2, have you noticed something? It's a system. It's a systematic approach. The same thing's happening. While I'm talking to you right now, people are checking in with me and saying, dial session's done, okay? Dial session's done. We use Skype, we have big Skype groups. Let me show you. Look at this. My setters are checking in right now. Look at all that. Setters are checking in. Look at this. They're all checking in. Dial session done. Once an hour, my setters put this out there. Dial session's done. We got a machine here, folks. We're not guessing or hoping or praying. We're getting it done. Now, my setters, by doing this over and over and over again, right, 10 to 12 hours a day, setting up their closer, because closers and setters work together. Guess what's gonna happen? If they hit a 95% voicemail confirmation and they can stay there for 60 days, guess what they become? The closer. See, we're teaching people how to go to work, and they're getting paid. I got closers making $6 grand a month. Excuse me, I got setters just confirming appointments, making $6,000 a month. You know how many people would die to make $6,000 a month that are out there pushing a shovel, driving a truck for $4 grand a month, driving an Uber? There's even people in the medical industry, there's paralegals that make $4 grand a month. They're not making 6. Guys, confirming appointments, it's easy. But see, by them doing the 10 to 12 hours a day of just confirming appointments, at the same time, just once an hour, they're getting down how to read the script. And I'm gonna teach you some things in a minute. And they're teaching you not only the how to read the script, but they're retraining themselves how to communicate. So when they're not reading the script, they start to learn how to re-engineer their mouth on when they do talk, how to be effective and how to be powerful. So when it comes time to say, hey, every day we're looking at the numbers, 80%, 85, 90, 95. When they get 95, 60 days in a row, because they're incentivized, they're going to closer. Now the closer's got someone who's in the hunt to become a setter in the hunt to become a closer. They're excited because now their stuff shows up. Just like in a restaurant, someone starts out as a cashier, they want to be what? Or a hostess, they want to go to a hostess, to a person taking the orders, and then they want to go waitress, and then they want to go to a bartender, and then they want to go to manager. Same thing. So now what our closers do is our closers have 2 calls. And what we have to do for our numbers is 50% of all of our qualification calls have to go to sales call. And if someone is down there at 18% or someone's down there at 30, then there's a reason for that with our closers. And the reason for that is our closers and our setters have got to do 30 minutes to an hour a day of reading personal development. I like everyone to watch and listen to Jim Rohn, and they've got to have, the highlighter, taking notes and doing all this type of stuff. This stuff has to happen, okay? Because what happens there is that their mind gets retrained. I'm gonna tell you something very deep right now that you guys are gonna a little bit here, and you're gonna hopefully not get offended, but down the road, if you really listen to what I'm saying, it's gonna change your life. When you're born, whatever family you come from, you gotta think about this. What was their economic condition? Did they have any money? Did they not have any money? Most of us, including myself, are gonna say we didn't have a lot of money in my family. Well, guess what? Your mom and dad learned from their parents, your grandparents. Your grandparents learned from their parents, their great-grandparents. So the mentality and the belief structure and the belief becomes the reality is all passed down. You don't know any better. You're told the same thing. Oh, don't go outside without a coat. They don't realize that's not how you get a cold. It's just what we were told over and over and over. So then we tell our next generation the same thing. The point is that you've got to understand that financial literacy is taught and trained. But most of us are illiterate when it comes to finances, or we're illiterate on how to make money. So you've got to go around people that are willing to teach you how to become financially literate. And you've got to change your belief, which is going to change your reality. And when you go through this cycle of changing your belief, everyone around you that believed the way you used to believe is going to tell you you are freaking crazy. Because 1, you're leaving them and the mentality that they believe in, but 2, you're protecting and rewriting your own personal constitution. This is a little harsh. Someone said to me, how often do you go home to Seattle? And the answer is never. It's never. I love my family, but I don't want whatever comes out of their mouth in my subconscious brain. I'm protect my brain. Because what you become around, you become what you hang around. So if someone says, hey, you mother flower, and they think everything is, the glass is half empty, and it's like, well, I'm supposed to just hang out with them because it's my family. I think like that eventually. I'm not gonna do that. So I've kind of been a lone wolf. I'm the first person in my family to become a millionaire. I'm the first person to be worth over 10 mil, 100 mil. I'm the first person because I had to change my belief. I had to protect my subconscious brain moving forward. And I did that, and I isolated myself, and I put the personal development in, and I went to work on retraining myself. It's not that I don't love my family. They don't know any better. They don't know any better. They don't know their words hurt because it doesn't hurt them. They don't understand words. Remember I told you in the last podcast, words are more powerful than missiles. Right now, there's missiles flying over in the Middle East because some words got said. It's out of control. We're not going there, but the point is that you've got to get your mind wrapped around where you're going. I had no father growing up. My father was a loser. I had a mom that remarried, and we were single mom for a while. She remarried, had her own family. I was all by myself, bouncing around between my grandparents' houses. So I could have the woe is me story, the poor kid that's a loser and I'm never gonna make anything and blame my past, but I got educated in my brain. I started doing sports. I got into what's called fundamentals. I got into personal development. So this is what my guys do. I gave you the long version here, right? But this is really what happens. Our sales and setters have got to work on their minds, because if they don't work on their minds, they're not going to last in my company. And you should make that a mission for your company. What are you going to do? Have someone with a belief structure all effed up on the phone just because they're after money? I don't want people after money. I want people to genuinely want to change their life and go out and change other people's life. It's a different perspective, folks. Because just one thing Jim Rohn told me, if you hunt down money, you're going to go broke. If you help people get what they want, you're going to get rich. It's the way it works. Some of you guys just can't get your head out of your ass long enough to see that, but that's how it works. And if you don't understand that, then you got to get on your knees and ask God for forgiveness on what got you where you are. And you got to get back in line with where you got to go. Because otherwise, you're always going to be having that issue in your life on what's not happening. And it all stems from personal development. Now, when you move on to the sales call, if people's minds are right, they're hitting 40 to 50% of their qualification calls going on to sales calls. And then when we get to the end of the day, when we get into the sales call, for every 3 sales calls we have purchases a academy, $3,000. There you go. So 2 will say no, 1 will say yes, but that's how it works. So that's the booking funnel. That's number 1. Number 2, and by the way, if you want to consult us, we'll build out all your tables. We will, show you how to have real-time dashboards on your setters and closers. That's how we operate. We don't do spreadsheets and wait till the end of the day and it's just, if you do that, you're going to lose money. The next funnel we operate with is called a low ticket funnel. Low ticket means that it's like $27. Someone puts their credit card down, they got skin in the game now. It's a better qualified lead than a booking funnel, but we're crushing it with booking funnels. But a low ticket, someone comes in for exactly that. $27 is a low ticket. They check out, they want a course, like a mini course. And here's the thing, this is so important. I'm gonna get to this in a second. But when they're checking out, you wanna have 3 upsells, like a 39, a 197, maybe a 297 upsell. So by the time they check through and check out, they get 1 upsell, maybe 2. Some people get all 3. And so it increases the checkout price. So you're not just getting $27. But what this does, the low ticket funnel, is when someone comes in and puts their credit card down, it's called they have skin in the game. They want to pay attention. They want to show up for appointments. They got skin in the game. Credit card's down. They charge that. Now, the low ticket funnel, when they go log into their mini course, they get 5 or 6 lessons, whatever you want to do. I just write this down. You've got to give them more than what they thought they're coming for. In those 6 lessons, you got to blow their mind. And what this does is it builds trust. This is the thing again that a lot of you guys are not. You guys are just putting out shit. You got the bare bones of information, and the people get the course and they're like, well, it was all right. It's $27, but it is what it is. I didn't expect much. I blow people's mind. That for $27, they're gonna get 5, 6 lessons. I'm blowing their mind. I got them because they now have trust that I'm gonna over deliver. Well, guess what we do the minute they log into one of the lessons? Lesson 1 or 2, you wanna have an area there for them to book an appointment with their instructor. And really what it's doing is the instructor's checking in on them, but then they have an opportunity it's basically they're booking a sales call for the big course. It's great, it's unbelievable. They have trust, you over deliver the lessons. They get on the big boy sales call, they buy the 3,000 or the 5, whatever. Now, people always go, why is your buy-in so low, 3,000? Listen, let me tell you something, guys. So many of you guys have done such shitty and foul business out there, you've screwed it up for everybody. So the government doesn't like $5 and $10 and $15 and $20,000 tickets. They think you're screwing people. And a lot of you did. You guys took people's money and you didn't deliver good product. And then the feds came in and shut you down because you didn't give them refunds because they didn't like what they had. And then you screwed around with their money and then you got everybody in trouble. So we don't want to even go there. We don't want to be associated with a lot of you people. Hopefully if you are watching this, you change, okay? You change. But really the sweet spot is about 3,000 and you can always do other things from there. But again, I can't stress it enough. If someone wants a refund, give it. That's a whole different podcast. Over deliver on your content. If someone comes for a $3,000 course, make them feel like they got a $10,000 course because you're gonna have this person around you forever. It's just the way you gotta roll. It shouldn't be because the government wants you to act this way. It should be the way you are in general. Even if they didn't have, laws and took a lot of people down because of bad actors out there, you should want to give good stuff to people. You should want to develop your brand. You shouldn't have a business just because you want to go out and have a nice lifestyle. You should be able to walk in a restaurant anywhere in the world, someone goes, hey, I took your course, it changed my life, and this is what happened to me. That's what you want. That's the end game. And anything else you deliver to the marketplace, they'll be the first ones in line to get it. So just, you guys, I'm telling you, this is how you got to operate. The next thing we do with our group is every single day, as you're prospecting, our contact manager has what's called action buttons, real time. So when your product is answered, appointment confirmed, or the outcome of a call, it pushes right to the dashboard. Like we call it a prospecting dashboard, real time. So you're able to see what your crew's doing, you're able to see your sales real time, you're able to see everything real time. But what happens is that we check in, we have a setter call in the morning, closer setters get together and they work together, not the whole group. The closer gets with their setter every morning and has what's called a what's happening with my sales line call. They look at the 48, they look at the 24, they look at the day ofs, they look at all the things that got confirmed, they're looking at it. Then at the very end of the day, guess what they do? Celebrate and fix. They celebrate what they did great and they fix what they didn't do right. Okay, with the setter, it's only one or two things. Setters they're missing dial sessions. They clean it up and make sure they don't do that again. Or they have somebody they voice confirmed on the 48 and the 24, the person didn't show up because they didn't like how they felt. That's the only two things that happens with the setter. Miss a dial session, or the person did not like how they feel. What do? You get back and role play the scripts with your setters. You don't let them stay in there and screw up people from not showing up for appointments. See, because this is what happens again with you guys. You guys get out there and you start having people go, hey, my guy's reading the script and they're doing the calls. Yeah, but you're not looking at the trends. The person picked up the phone, the lead, and said hello on a 48-hour or a 24-hour. But then the next day when you said, well, they called and no one picked up. Yeah, they didn't pick up because yesterday they didn't like how they felt. So when they see you call them the next day, they're going, oh, I don't like this guy. And then they don't tell you they don't like you. They just don't show up or pick up. And then they go into what's called the reschedule tab. If you've got a bunch of reschedules happening, number one, it costs $100 for one booked appointment. In marketing, $100. If you get 7 people in rebook, it's $700 in marketing. Listen, that setter is gone. Not that they're bad people. They're not paying attention to the process. They're not working on their brain. They're not practicing the 3 things that I'm going to talk about on my next podcast. So this is what we do. And then the third thing we have is what's called a community for all the people that don't want to do the low ticket or don't want to participate with the booking. We have a community. It's only $39 a month, okay? And we bring in millionaires from the community, then we interview them like we grind them up, these millionaires. And you guys, and meaning grind them up means we can ask all the questions that you've always wanted to ask somebody. You're not just sitting there on a Zoom, muted. After the person talks, then you can get in there and say, hey, I have some questions for you. Or Anthony, I have questions for you, or whoever. This is the kind of stuff that people wish they had. I wish I had this when I was on the come up, where I could get around a new millionaire every single Wednesday, ask questions in a live environment. So it's called a community. It's only $39 a month. It's the greatest money you can ever spend. So our people that are in the academy, or that came through the booking funnel, or people that came through the low ticket funnel, or people that said no to everything, we get them in the community for $39 a month so they can participate, go watch all the other interviews past, and then catch up for the new interviews every single Wednesday. And what that does for people that didn't buy into the academy or come through and get started, it builds trust. They become part of exactly what it's called, the community. So I've given you, and there's a lot, I could be here for 10 hours digging into each step in the process that I just went through. But I'm gonna give you just this right now, because if I continue, then I'm gonna give you my entire marketing strategy for free, and I do want you to have it. But you also do have to have the master me show up and work with you and your team, because you gotta do a little tweaking. But here's what I can tell you. You get your system or your business into a systematic approach, which means everybody doing the same thing, and everything will take off like a rocket. It takes about 30 days, and it just goes completely out of control. But you gotta get behind it, and you gotta understand that it's a process. And I know a lot of you are going, well, wait a minute, what about emails and text messages confirming appointment? And what about the new AI setters now? All of that's wonderful, guys. Yes, we send text messages and we get a response back confirmed. Yes, we send emails out, we get a response back confirmed, but we don't trust those. We see them, but for some odd reason, the good old live human voice that shows up and says, hey, I'm calling to confirm the appointment, creates value. The value creates a bond. The bond gets someone to show up. They don't feel like a freaking number and they want to be part of the company. That will never go away. All these other things are enhancements to the process. That's it. Like the AI, I found out the AI setter is not going to take the place of a human right now. What it is going to do the minute that someone hits the sales funnel is that AI setter is going to call out, bang, like right now and say, hey, welcome. I want to confirm your appointment real quick. And that process, boom. Then the next call is the live person. It's just that right there makes everything go like this. So anyways, guys, I hope this served you well. I gave you tons of value today. I know I did, because if you just go back and watch this over and over and over again, you're going to become one of my testimonies. I don't play around here. Sometimes people say, hey, you're kind of like a drill sergeant. Well, listen, if I can help you become a millionaire because of my techniques and the things I've learned over the last 24 or 5 years, if I can get in your head and help you get literate, financially literate by the practices that I've been able to learn and master, then so be it. But you're gonna have to someday get strong about your process called building a system for you and your company. And it starts with you. You got to be the person that starts the system by yourself. And then all of a sudden you'll have a setter. And then before you know it, you'll have 2 of you and then 3 of you. And then everyone's doing the same thing. So guys, make sure you have subscribed. Make sure you've hit the notifications so you don't ever miss a podcast again, because this is what we're doing. I just did an incredible interview with somebody the other day. You're going to see that. And in the future, we're going to have probably interviews and then one-on-ones like this. So we're going to start putting more interviews in. But guys, I think it's important you really learn my $2 billion strategy. And there's so many parts of it that if you just get down, you're gonna go, gosh, this is what I've always been doing, I'm wanting. Oh my gosh, I spent 10 grand and I didn't get that over here. I'm gonna give it to you for free on this podcast, but you gotta do something with it, okay? Thanks for your attention today. God bless. We'll talk to you on the next podcast. Remember, every Wednesday, 6 o'clock, be ready to go. Bye for now.